To day one of the Health Goals Declutter Challenge. In this video, we're talking about making your health goals specific and measurable, brainstorming all of the obstacles that will be in the way of you starting working on your goal and continuing until you achieve it, and decluttering your calendar and your to-do list of things that you can temporarily put on hold to make time for this decluttering process. And in doing that work can also apply to making the room for your goal when you start working on it too. Okay, so make sure you have a notebook with you and a pen to write down the things that we'll be talking about. You might need your calendar and to-do list with you so you can check it out as we go along. And you can feel free to pause the video at any point if you need to take the time to write out your list. All right, let me check my notes. All right, so first, talking about our goals and making them specific and measurable. And the reason we do that is so that we know when we achieve our goal. We know, maybe a time frame. We know maybe it's basically how you're going to know when you have reached your goal. So if your goal might be losing weight, how much weight do you want to lose? How are you going to measure that? Is it going to be with your measurements, like with a measuring tape, which means you would have to have your beginning measurements right away, or is it going to be a number on the scale? When do you want to have finished or reach that goal? Or do you want more energy? So for something like that, how are you going to know that you have more energy? Are you going to rate your energy on a scale of 1 to 10 now, and then try to do the same when you're at a certain point in working towards your goal? What number do you want to work toward? How are you going to know when you reach that number? Do you want to sleep better? What does that actually mean for you? How are you going to know based on maybe your Fitbit tracking your quality of sleep, or you feel better when you wake up? How will you know that you feel better? Do you spring out of bed, or are you not sleepy by 2 in the afternoon, wanting to take a nap? And how can you keep track of that? Like, I don't know, writing it down every week. What's the improvement there? Something along those lines. Do you want to feel less stressed? Does that mean you don't yell at your kids every day? Does that mean you're not snapping at people who don't deserve it? Does that mean your blood pressure goes down to a certain number? So for any of these goals, just keep track of how you want to measure it, how you're going to know that you reached it, and write down all of your beginning measurements right now. Another option would be like with more self-care. What does self-care actually mean to you? Does it mean like taking a bath every week? Does it mean getting more sleep, getting your nails done, meditating? I don't know. Let me check my notes. Drinking more water. Consider self-care to be, and how are you going to measure those specific things? Do you want better morning or evening routines? And what does better mean? What makes them not great right now? What would improve them? Does it mean like you can fall asleep more easily at night if you have a better nighttime routine, or go to bed sooner? Or in the morning, does it mean that you feel revived and motivated by your morning routine? Or does it mean you're eating a healthier breakfast? What are those specifics for you? Or one last option could be improving your mental health. What does that mean for you right now? Like, do you feel like you are mentally not healthy at the moment? And in what way? One thing could be if you feel depressed fairly regularly, and you notice that you are spending a lot of time in bed, or you're sleeping more hours than you feel like you should be sleeping, whether at night or during the day. So once you work on your mental health, your measurement could be, I'm spending this number of hours less in bed than I was before. So keeping track of what you're doing first, now, regularly, and the improvement that you make as you're going along. like, what's your goal there? Do I want to spend this amount of hours sleeping and don't not be in bed at all during the day? What would that be for you? Okay. So many options. Please feel free to ask me to help you with your specifics, or run your goal by me to see if I have ideas. I probably do, to help you out. I would love to help you. All right, next on the list. Oh, my goals. Both of my goals not measurable in the same way that I just talked about. First, my first goal is to go dairy free. Again, I've done this before. And my second goal is to walk every weekday after I drop my daughter off at school, except maybe Wednesday. That's I could do it if I want to or don't have to. That's late start Wednesday. It just doesn't fit in my schedule quite as easily. So for both of those, I will know if I reached my goal by if I actually do it each day that I say I'm going to do it or not. For being dairy free, I think the measurement would be a length of time that I want to do it. And I don't know if I'm going to do that forever or not, because I started it before I went back to not being dairy free. I have these health reasons for wanting to do it. But I do know that I want to do it for at least 3 months, because that's about the length of time that it took me to notice the health differences. Like, I had zero acne. I didn't have to clear my throat all the time. I had less sinus stuffiness. My anxiety and depression levels improved significantly within 3 months. And I mean, there are other big benefits. So for me, I want to do it at least for 3 months, and then I'll just reevaluate after that, see what I want to do with it. And then for the walking, I will know if I do this, if I actually go and do the act of walking. I am not trying to lose weight from it. I'm not trying to like gain a certain amount of energy. We all know the benefits of adding daily exercise into our routines, and I just want to do it for overall health. And so how I will measure it is, did I go for a walk 4 days a week? And the length of time I'm going to start with is just during the school year, to have it become a regular habit. And then same thing as my other one, reassess from there. So yeah, what are your goals? Please share them with me if you would like. If you feel so inclined, you can comment or email me or send me a message on Messenger. All right, that brings us to the obstacles. What we're doing today is just making a list and thinking through all of the obstacles that could be in the way of us starting working on our goals and reaching our goals. We will be problem solving for this in the next video. You do not have to start problem solving. You can if you feel inspired to, but today it's just getting this list down. Try to get a really thorough, full list of all of the reasons that you might have difficulty with your goal, rather than trying to problem solve for them in the process. So finish your list first, and then the fixing it will come later. So what are all the things in the way? Write out your list. This is your chance to think through all of the reasons why you might procrastinate, or why you might stop in the middle of working on this, or why life might make it hard for you to follow through with or accomplish your goal. And these reasons are not reasons to not start. They're not reasons to put it off any longer. I mean, maybe you do have some reasons for why you need to wait for I don't know. I waited until school started so that I could have the time to think through and plan all of this stuff. Whatever, that's totally fine. But this is all of the other reasons that we just need to solve for to make it doable. And that's what we'll talk about in the next video. I call this decluttering obstacles. Okay, so here is a list of things that are in the way of my 2 goals that I have. Going dairy free, This is not a full list. I'm just giving you some of my ideas. I love cheese and anything with cheese in or on it. So that makes it very hard. It's going to be too much work, like cooking and knowing what I can and can't eat, having to think about what I'm eating all of the time. I'm going to be grumpy and irritable for a while. That's what happened before. I can just plan on that. I won't have time to figure out what I can and can't eat and to meal plan and prep and all of that. Or it'll take time away from the things that I really want to do. It will take away the joy in social gatherings. Like, I love going to Red Hills Market with my sister-in-law and getting their margarita pizza. That is like a joy of my life. I love it. Or I like getting pizza and watching movies with my boyfriend or my daughter or both of them. It's just a fun social thing. Pizza. That's what we do. Also other people making me food. I don't want to be a burden on them with my dietary choices. Like my mom will send home food with me, or she'll make food for us to have at her house. Same with my daughter's other grandma. She'll send food home, which that's amazing. I absolutely love and appreciate it. I don't want to tell them, oh, could you cook dairy-free stuff for me? So I don't know. It's just a thing to think through, figure out. And I love cheese. That's just my biggest, I think that's my biggest holdup with dairy-free. I just love cheese. Okay, so with my walk-in goal, the obstacles would be if I'm tired, bad weather, I don't want to have to change my clothes a bunch of times. What if it makes me too tired? I'm also a dance teacher. What if I feel like I'm dragging or like I'm tired from my walks on Mondays and Wednesdays when I teach class in the afternoon and evening? I won't feel like it. Like, it's not a good excuse ultimately, but that happens. I'm like, oh, I just don't feel like it. I'd rather sit on the couch today. Sounds way more appealing, right? What if my hip starts to hurt again? That affects my dance teaching. That affects me getting stuff done around the house. That's a thing that happens for me if I overdo it. I'll shower for my day. Excuse me. And then what if I get sweaty from my walk? Then I'm going to have to shower again. That seems like a waste of time and energy. So yeah, these are my beginnings of my list. There's probably more. And this is where you get to complain and whine and let out all of your reasons that you feel like are just good excuses or terrible excuses. It doesn't matter. Just get it all out. Okay. So with that list, keep it somewhere where you will have it with you for the next video, because we will start talking about working through each of those obstacles. We need to make a plan for them so that they're not things that are going to get in the way. And that is how we declutter obstacles. So be prepared for that. Keep that list somewhere nearby. All right, let's move on to decluttering your calendar and your to-dos. Basically making time for this decluttering work, which ultimately will help you make the time for your goals once you get to the point of working on them. So looking at your calendar, if you need to, where in your regular schedule can you make time for this? You can think of it as like, when would I be doing this goal? Like, when would I, for example, for my walking goal, I already started it, so this time is taken up by the goal. But I drop my daughter off at school. I walk for 30 minutes. I have a specific place I walk, and I know that it takes me 30 minutes or 25 to 30. So if I was not walking yet, if I had not started that goal, that would be a great time. Those 30 minutes right after dropping my daughter off from school or at school, that would be a great time for me to fit in my declutter plan that we will be making. So think about where you might have those regular amounts of time. It could even be just 5 minutes before you leave for work or get home from work, or it could be 2 hours on Saturday, or whatever you feel like you can manage. It doesn't have to be a lot of time. It doesn't have to be every single day, but just figure out when you're actually going to do the work so that you can have a plan for that. And then you may also want to consider too, this can be a big, an important thing for when you're actually working on your goals also, is what can I temporarily stop doing to make the time for this thing that I really want to do? This has been really big for me because I want to do all of the things. I'm a single mom. I have a coaching business. I teach dance classes. I have a home where I have a big backyard and front yard that needs to be taken care of. My daughter is not the cleanest child there ever was. So there's her messes all the time. And after school activities and balancing social life, trying to, have a great relationship with my boyfriend, all of these things, where I want to be the best at all of them. But when you are starting something new, when you're starting a new goal, you just have to let go some of those things while you make your goal a habit, because you will get into the rhythm of doing this goal. That's the same with the decluttering. You'll find your rhythm of the decluttering process. And sometimes the other things temporarily have to fall away to be able to do that. The habit will become a habit, and then you add in the other things again. So for me, when I need to make time for something like this challenge for work, when I'm working on planning, recording, figuring out how to deliver all of that, I will sometimes just let the house work go, even though I'm at home, which makes it hard because I can see the mess. It's not in my office. My office is clean and clear. If I walk out to the kitchen, I'll see the dishes that need to be done. I'll see the laundry that needs to be folded. I am like, that's okay, because I intentionally decided not to do those things because I really want to make time for this thing that's very important to me right now. There will always be time to do those, or they'll be there when I'm ready to get to them. So yeah, what can you cut back on? What can you do less of, or temporarily put off until you've been able to get in the groove with this declutter process? Okay, let me see. Did I get through my list? Oh, yeah. This is an important one. I capitalized it. Don't let yourself stop at I don't have time or energy, because those are like the top reasons that I hear from people on why they can't get ahead, or why they can't actually do what they want to do, or get done the things that need to get done. If you let yourself stay stuck there, you won't ever make the time for you and for what you really want. So in figuring out this, when am I going to do it? How am I going to make the time? Get creative, problem solve, think through all of the options that you have. Even if you don't like some of them, write down all of the options that you have, because the more ideas you start throwing out there, the more ideas will come to your mind. And the first ideas you come up with might be just within like your regular thought loop habits that you already have. And so if you let yourself continue thinking of ideas, you'll be stretching your mind. And that's where the good ideas begin to start flowing, after getting the bad ideas kind of out of the way first. I call this decluttering the shit ideas. So, pardon my French. So, yeah, go through this, listing out all the options, figuring out what options you like the best. How can you put into play? Make the plan for making that time so that you can have the time for what we're going to talk about in the next couple to few videos. All right, that's all for today. You have your specific and measurable goal. You have your list of obstacles that we're going to plan for later on. and you know when you're going to do this work. So I will see you in day 2 of our challenge.